Good morning. Thank you everybody for joining us here today at Earth and Sky. Those of you joining us online, I really appreciate your likes, your subscriptions, your views, your comments. Anytime you subscribe to us on YouTube, it really makes our whole day a really happy one. And today we are going to talk about awe, finding the awe in life, the excitement, the joy. Sometimes it seems like as adults we lose that moment where we go, oh, this is amazing. Oh, finding the wonder, the joy, the enlightenment, the inspiration in the day-to-day. Children seem to have a very good knack for finding the things that are very awe-inspiring in life. And so why do we seem to lose that as adults? How can we get that back? That wonder, that joy, finding the awe in the world. I was inspired to do this as I was working on a class. I'm working on the sphere of Katir, which we'll get to a little bit here in a minute. But how do you find that awe again in the world? So the magic, the meaning, and the mystery of life, those things all seem to be these little triggers for finding the awe in the world. That sense of wonder that fills us as children when we experience things for the very first time, seeing things for the very first time. If it's nourished, if that sense of wonder is nourished within children, it tends to turn into a sense of awe that can follow them through life. But sadly, in the world today, we're really given nothing that's truly amazing to focus on above and beyond ourselves as far as what we're trained in within society. It seems like we get into these routines where it feels like we're just doing the day-to-day all the time. We have to go to work, we have to feed the kids, we have to take care of all of those things to keep everything floating properly within life. And so how do you pull yourself up? How do you pull yourself above yourself, beyond the day-to-day circumstances, so that you can really get that sense of awe back? Sometimes it's important to look at things from a completely different perspective, and it's when we see this a whole lot in Kabbalistic Judaism. I've been teaching, it's basically a year-long class that's on the Kabbalah, simply on the tree of life, the spheres, the paths, all of the information that's within this tree of life here. We have many, many different layers within each and every one of us. And the tree of life, some people would say that this is the right side up of the tree. You would have the roots of the tree down here in this spot. You have the growth of the tree and the branches that all come up here. But within Kabbalistic Judaism, everything you look at, you can see from many different perspectives. So some would say actually it's flipped. The roots of the tree are up here in this sphere called Katir, which is a bit of our inspiration for today. Katir and the empty space that's behind it, which is called Ein Sof, really represent the universal all that is, that essence that we all come from, that spark of life, that breath, that universal light or love. I often see it as a brilliant white sphere of light or of love that we all come from. And so this is that sphere that we come from. Well, when they talk about this being the roots of the tree, they're doing that because they feel like all nourishment, everything that feeds life, flows down through Katir, which would be the roots, and then flows down into the rest of the tree when having the branches up here. Some say that this is the root of the tree down here because this represents earth. This represents everything that's very physical, very concrete. The whole story of creation, whether you're seeing it from an evolutionary perspective or however you want to view it, is seen through this tree of life. Everything that is kind of in those invisible realms, very hard to sometimes see, that flash just before you get the inspiration of an idea that's up here in these higher realms. You flow down, you come down to the spheres of love and of boundaries and of balance and intellect and emotion, and all the way down into the physical body. The animals, the birds, the trees, all things that are manifest physically show up in this bottom part of the tree, but it's all connected. Just like within your life, everything is connected. So how can you come back up so you get this inspired view where you just see the awe, the wonder, the magic within everything that's in your life? So to do that, sometimes you might have to shake things up a little bit in your life. You might have to change that perspective. In shamanism, we would talk about going into the perspective of the eagle, because the eagles have this amazing ability to soar and fly so high. They can be really high up in the sky and see a tiny little mouse crawling under the leaves in the forest or around on the earth. And so how do you get that perspective where wherever you are in life, you can look down and see the big picture. You can see what nourishes you in life, what inspires you, what you need to do, and maybe what you can also let go of in life. So how can you shake some things up to get that awe back in your life? What do you need to change within your life? Several questions we're going to ask today to give you some things to think about and ponder to figure out how you can bring this magic back into your life in the everyday. So what routines do you do that you do exactly the same way every single day, which can get a little bit boring? So it might even come down to driving the same way every day when you go to work. It might be that you do the dishes the same way, sometimes doing something really simple with a menial task. So dry the dishes on the other side of the sink, which might mean arranging things. It might make it a little bit awkward because your hands don't flow that way. But it's going to start opening up the channels in your brain, so you start thinking a little bit different, feeling things a little bit differently, and starting to just make those chemical shifts and those tactile shifts that start making changes that spew out into the bigger things in your life. So what changes are routine in your life that you can shake up, figure out how you can do it a little bit differently? What in your life feels so boring and so dull that you just can't stand it and you just really wish you didn't have to do these certain tasks or these certain things or talking to certain people? What are those things that you find so boring that you just can't stand it? And also thinking about what in life do you do every day that maybe you just don't even notice. It's just a routine you do every day. You don't think about it, you just do it. Do you get up and you brush your teeth every morning and you brush your hair and you don't even think about it? Or are you really present as you're doing those things? Are you thinking about it, focusing on it, thinking about why you're doing it, how it feels as you do it? If you're doing any of those things, we all have things that we do without thinking. Really try over this next week to put some thought into it. Notice how your body feels as you do these different tasks. Notice where your mind is and really work to bring yourself into the present moment as you're doing these very simple everyday tasks. It's going to start making those changes in the brain so you can bring the awe back into your life. Because when you do something for the very first time, there's a sense of thrill that comes with it. Whether you're learning something for the first time and you get that, aha, that's amazing, that just made it click, now I understand. That's a thrill in itself. Or if you're doing a roller coaster for this time, that's quite a big thrill the first time you do it. If you're driving and you see this beautiful windy mountain road and you just can see the landscape and the waterfalls and the rocks and the views of a new area for the very first time, what a great thrill to bring in the awe, the majesty of what nature has created. That is what we often can get so excited about. Often it's the first time. And then if for people who live in these areas, maybe you drive through an area and you think, how majestic, how beautiful, and you find it hard to imagine that people live in those areas and take it for granted, and they just feel like they look at those views every day. Well, taking that fresh perspective, pulling it back, think about where you live, what beauty, what splendor, what are nature's, magical landmarks around where you live that you don't even notice anymore. But if people were on vacation in your area, maybe they would be inspired with the awe, the magic, and the beauty of that place. So thinking about how you can bring back that inspiration of the first time you experience something. That's what we can get so excited about. Can you remember the first time you ever saw a hot air balloon floating amidst a summer sunset? That wonder and delight that you saw, the feeling of awe, beauty, and magic, the Smoky Mountains or the Blue Ridge Mountains with their magnificent views? Can you bring that life, that magic, that feeling into your everyday life, into just the everyday things that you do? How can you get that excitement to grow within your heart, within your mind? Engaging your curiosity is going to be one of the things that can really help you to get that back, to bring it into the everyday. Engaging your childlike sense of wonder. Have you ever seen that child that for the first time they saw the little white flower that when you blow it, it spreads those flowers everywhere? Somewhere consider them weeds and say, no, don't blow that. But to the child, it's magic. You make a wish and it scatters everywhere. How can you engage that sense of wonder within yourself again? Be the seeker. Be the one who looks to find in every day all of those little things. Bring out that inner child within yourself, and don't be afraid to feel that innocence again, to bring that joy up. There's a fun quote that I was listening to that said, minds are like parachutes. They only engage when they're open. And it's true. If you're closed-minded, then life will be dull. It's just going to be the same things over and over. But if you're looking to learn, you open your mind. You look for new perspectives. Talk to people. See what their perspectives are. See what their opinions are. You may or may not agree with them, but it can expand your horizons as you figure out what you do believe in, what does bring you joy. Open your mind and feel the thrill of living instead of simply existing within this web of life. You really do contain infinity within yourself. Each and every one of you has the entire wheel of infinity within you. That's a lot of what we talk about with the tree of life. We're always climbing up the tree and down the tree within the tree of life, where there's a whole story, there's several stories within this, where when the divine decided to create life, and it decided this area behind here called Ein Sof, that's like a void, it's just this empty space. It decided it wanted to create life. It wanted to see what experiences could happen with many different beings in different forms, with different experiences. So it chose to express itself through love. And so this whole top here, this crown that says the number 1 in it, is an expression of love, and it's Ein Sof that decided, I'm going to emit pure love and pure potentiality into the sphere of love, and I want it to trickle down this tree, and I want it to become physical and tangible. So it created ideas and inspiration and flowed down to where there was such pure love that just flowed through, boundless and endless, and then decided, wait, we need to have some boundaries. So over here we created boundaries. There was the shore that brought the seashore to the ocean, so the ocean became separated from the land, and it continued to flow down and down and down until finally we have the animals, the birds, mankind, this physical planet that we're on. And then once these expressions became very physical and manifest down here, all of us, all of the beings that we are, decided we wanted to know, we feel like there's more than just what's on this planet. It seems like there's more than just what we're seeing physically in front of us. I want to learn more about it. So we start journeying up the tree, and we climb up, and we discover what each of the spheres are and what each of the paths are, until we climb up and up and up and discover that true love, that pure potentiality, that limitless potential is at the core of who we are. And we discover who we are in this expression that is so infinite and so unknowable, yet at the same time it's not unknown. So the expression of what we come from, this amazing sense of this awe-inspiring, limitless universe that abounds around us, is something that as humans we really don't have the ability to fully understand in its infiniteness. It's like trying to have a child understand what eternity is. You can kind of explain it, but you can't really grasp what it fully means. So that's as we climb up here and we're trying to understand Katir and Ein Sof behind it. And yet, at the same time, it's not unknown. I heard this story that a rabbi was talking about how a child, when a child is born, it doesn't really know its mother. Mother is unknowable to it because the child doesn't understand that the mother may or may not have a career and who her friends are and what her beliefs and thoughts are. yet she's not unknown to the child, because as soon as the baby cries for the mother and the mother comes near, the baby recognizes, this is my mother. He can distinguish her from any other human that's out there, and so he's knows who the mother is, even though she's unknowable, all the details about her. That's the same thing here. So we have this ability to learn and to grow and to get closer and closer to this infinite wisdom that's above us and around us and emanates within each and every one of us. Yet, when we try to explore it, we find this sensation of awe, this magic, this mystery, this incredible sense of love that comes with it as well. And so it's just learning how to evoke that feeling within yourself. How do you bring out that sense of awe? How do you begin to recognize that infinity resides within you, within each and every one of you, pure potentiality to be whoever you want to be in life, to make the everyday life awe-inspiring and enjoyable. We're always climbing up and down that tree of life, seeking, producing, learning, and manifesting. So it's learning how we can do it with awe, with wonder, with renewed faith, with that joy of life. So looking with those new fresh eyes, just like the eagle, pulling your perspective up out of yourself, looking down all around you, and finding out what brings you joy. How can you bring more of that into yourself? Sometimes naming it, figuring out what it is that makes you happy is the first step to being able to find that brings you joy. What have you forgotten or lost your appreciation for? Who or what in your life do you have that you would miss if it were not there tomorrow? Sometimes we take for granted the people and the things that are in our life. So if that was maybe doing an assessment of what is in your life and who is in your life, that if it just disappeared tomorrow, how would you feel? If you would miss it, do you feel like you're appreciating it today? Or have you just come to expect that that will always be there and that you just kind of roll forward with it? Do you take for granted the fact that certain people are simply there as part of your life? How would you change if you knew that those things or those people that are so precious would be gone tomorrow? Or if they were gone in a year? Or if they were gone in 5 years? Would that change your behavior? Would that change your thoughts? Would it change what you say to people? I've been doing a lot of readings for people lately, bringing across spirits from the other side, people that they missed, that they love dearly, and quite often there are things that are unsaid, or there are feelings of guilt or remorse because people just didn't express fully the way they would have wanted to express, or they have questions. And so if you take life from that approach of knowing that people can be gone tomorrow. You never know when your time is up or when your loved one's time is up. So really taking stock of who are you appreciating? How can you maybe change what you're doing in your life to make sure that you are expressing that to people? Develop your sense of awe, your excitement, and your wonder at the opportunities that you have. Really take in the fact that you have infinity within you. It's in your hands. It's in your soul. It's who you are. You're created with limitless potential. Utilize each moment by bringing in and emanating that joy and wonder. Because this is really a marvelously majestic planet that we live on. It's full of sunsets, beaches, trees. The trees we're seeing right now, we're in that change of season that's just amazing. The trees are going from barren to brimming within just a few months' time. What can you create within your life that has meaning if you only apply yourself and realize that you have everything that you need within you, that it's already there, it's already inside you? And another quote, this is actually from an 11-year-old named Hafid Gori. He did a TED Talk, which is actually pretty good. He said, when we appreciate and value others and show them that we are confident in them, this helps their amazingness to rise. And we really can lift each other up. And the more you lift other people up, the more you're lifting yourself up as well. Be the change that you want to see in the world. Everyone in this world is beautiful, no matter who, what, or where you are. When you show love and you show kindness, you spread the ability to recognize what is amazing in life. And then you become amazing because you're being part of that whole process. When we have awe and wonder in our experience, it also begins to change our perception. It changes how we see the world, it changes how we act in the world, and it changes the legacy that we leave behind after we're gone. There are two things that are good to watch out for that really show that maybe you've lost your sense of awe in the world. Fanaticism and cynicism are two widespread ailments in the world that partially result from the loss of awe, because it's that where you're pulling back. You're either pushing forward and really forcing it with a fanaticism, or you're pulling back and you become very cynical and withdrawn a bit, and both of those show that loss of awe. But when you achieve the state of awe, and you start really recognizing it and allowing that flow to happen, you allow yourself to rise up, feel that eagle vision, look down with different perspectives, re-experience things for the first time by opening your mind and opening all of your senses, engage everything within you in what you do, then you'll start to achieve that state of awe again, and you come closer to reaching, recognizing, and feeling enlightenment each time you step into that state of awe. So I hope you have enjoyed today's life talk on awe. I hope you use that to bring in a sense of wonder, joy, delight. I hope this next week coming up is very delightful for you, and you can find the magic in the everyday as you continue to climb up and down the tree of life. Thank you so much. We appreciate you liking our video.